Happy Wednesday night and welcome to A Look on the Plus Side. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight with our discussion of Miracle on 34th Street, the 1994 edition. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to this channel. It's called the Park Adventures Club. We have so much content for you, and we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. And then also give us a like because it helps people to find us. And us tonight, it's me, and it's this lady, it's Stephanie. Stephanie, are you a believer?
I believe, Rob. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you chose this one. That tonight we're going to be talking about Miracle on 34th Street. We have been doing our best to go through so many holiday specials to review on A Look on the Plus Side this season. Last week was Charlie and I did A Christmas Carol, the Jim Carrey version. Go back and watch that. It went super long, folks, because Charlie has he educated the Dickens out of me, if I can say that. And then before that, you and I talked about the Disney Junior special that was Mickey and the Many Christmases. So we're going all over the place on this one, and we're talking about this one. But you know what? I wanted to ask you this question because there's so much Christmas content. Like I'm realizing as I'm going through Amazon Prime or Hulu or Hallmark, for gosh sakes, and there's so much content that there's the stuff we grew up with. There's the Rankin and Bass. There's the Grinch and Charlie Brown, and I'm maybe you didn't grow up with that, but I did. And then there's like the newer stuff, like the Mickey Mouse and the Prep and Landing and Mickey's Christmas Carol, and all of these things. And you and I talked about genres within that. There's there's the one where it's the Christmas Carol, or it's the Nutcracker, or it's something that starts with non-belief, and that's what this is. This one, it starts with non-believing. But my question really is, what do you think makes like a holiday classic? What makes some of this like stand out above the noise to you?
Great question, because I feel like anything having to do with Santa, right? But with this one, it's a remake, obviously, from the 1947 version, and that was the original. But this one kind of stands on its own. However, it gives a nostalgia back to the earlier one because of the lighting, because of the music, because of the styling even. It was done in 1994, but it feels like almost it could be placed back into 1950 or 60. So I feel like that it harkens back to a simpler time. That nostalgia feeling really makes it more Christmassy to me.
Yeah. Well, in our house, the classics are not the classics. Every year, it's like we have to watch the SpongeBob Christmas special. Santa's coming tonight. We have, and my children are grown, but it's a thing. We have to watch the Invader Zim Christmas special, and if you've never seen it, treat yourself. It is amazing. I am all about Prep and Landing. I always end the Halloween season with Nightmare, and I always start the Christmas season with Prep and Landing, and there's a new one, and Patrick's going to come talk about that one. So those have become the staples, but you start to run out of time because you're like, the holiday season is just not long enough for all of the things that are out there. And so classics, I think of, It's a Wonderful Life, and Chevy Chase's Christmas Vacation, A Christmas Story with Ralphie. There's so many that you're just like, did I get to that one yet? Well, we're going to watch the Santa Claus. Were you going to watch one, or are we going to watch all three? And then the TV series that had 2 seasons. There's so much. And so Miracle on 34th Street, I think, was a classic must-see every year for everyone. The 1947 one that you kind of talked about with Maureen O'Hara and of course Natalie Wood, just an amazing film, and it's kind of like, to me, it is sort of like the Citizen Kane of Christmas movies. Yes. Even though It's a Wonderful Life is great, this is just Christmas. This isn't just like what happened. I love this movie. And then in 1994. They did a remake. And so when you and I were talking about it, you were like, I'm going to do Miracle on 34th Street. I thought, I've been asking for years for somebody to do Miracle on 34th Street with me. And I was like, which one? And you're like, the 1994 version. I'm like,
womp womp.
No, but we could do that. We'll do that. It's still the same thing, right? But it's going to be, as we're talking about this, I think it's hard not to make connections between the original and this one. And sometimes when there's a remake, it's for a modern audience, and it introduces a new audience to something that maybe a kid wouldn't want to sit through black and white. Would your kids do that? Would your kids, like, if you put them side by side, would they ever choose the black and white version?
I think the older ones may, because they can get more into the plot and the actual, story of it all. But I don't know that the younger ones would. The 3-year-old, I don't think would hold her attention. Her attention span wouldn't be so good for the black and white.
Yeah, no, for sure. But that old adage is like, well, when I grew up, the world was in black and white. So,
Yes,
yeah.
right. Not really.
So for this movie, let's start with the stat board. That's the thing we do now. Here's the stat board for this one. The runtime is an hour and 55 minutes. Stephanie, I like an hour 30. So when you suggest something
Oh,
like that's 23 minutes, like the Mickey's Many Christmases, I'm with you. An hour and 55 minutes, I guess it happens. It's still not Once Upon a Time Season 1. Release date was November 18th, 1994, which is good. It was around Christmas time. That's what this should be. Sometimes they don't do that, but they did it here. PG movie budget was $50 million, and the box office was $46.3 million, and the company was 20th Century Fox. Let's talk about that first. That this is now a Disney movie, which is kind of exciting, right? I mean, it has all the hallmarks of it. And as we talk about this movie, we'll probably talk about that. It has all the hallmarks of a Disney movie, really, for the 90s. And I know you're a 90s like movie fan because of the,
yes.
like, when you were like heckling Shannon into doing Blank Check, and she was like, I don't want to know. And then so yeah.
It's my
But
childhood,
anyway,
right?
right, exactly. So I get it. But now this is officially a Disney movie, and so is the original, because they bought 20th Century Fox, not because like they made it, but I mean, it kind of feels that way. It's all the things we think of with nostalgia and family and those Disney moments. There are some of those in here that I'm sure we'll talk about, but it disappointing at the box office. But again, it doesn't necessarily always have to hit at the box office. I'm not sure that most holiday movies do.
I would want to know what it went up against too. Because,
Mm.
there was a lot of competition, and I feel like sometimes there were movies that were very similar, and so one movie might perform better over the other. I'm not sure what was coming out around that same time in 1994. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, we're not digging that deep. Although, if you think about it, 1994 was The Lion King. I feel like that was probably
Okay,
a fall release, maybe.
maybe.
So yeah. So this movie stars. I mean, so every time I see, every time I see Richard Attenborough, I always think John Hammond. I will
John
never
Hammond,
not
yeah.
think John Hammond. Am I wrong
Yes.
on that?
No, spared no expense.
Spared
Absolutely.
no expense. Yes, the late great Richard Attenborough plays Kris Kringle. Although the funny thing is that in the IMDb credits for the original Kris Kringle, Edmund Gwen, who played him in the original 1947, Kris Kringle.
Uh-huh.
In the one for the 1994, it's Kriss.
Oh,
Why?
weird. I don't
I
know.
know, right? Um, and so then it's Elizabeth Perkins, and as we're watching that movie, we're gonna
Are
have
you
some
thinking big?
conversation about this. Big, obviously, yeah.
That's
Most
all I'm
people know
thinking.
her,
Yeah.
but most people know her from Big, of course, and so she plays Dory Walker,
Yeah.
which the original character's name was Doris Walker. Why would you go Dory? Because now all I'm thinking is like, you know, like
The fish.
Finding Dory. I mean, right?
Right. Yeah, I
That's
don't know. You can't, I mean, it's hard to compare her with Maureen O'Hara. Maureen O'Hara is one of my all-time favorite actresses. Parent Trap, The Quiet Man with John Wayne is one of my all-time favorite movies, if you've never seen it. But yes, that is hard to fill her shoes, and she does a decent job. I do feel like she was more, I don't know if it could say stoic maybe, but she's supposed to play somebody that's very, you know, has hard edges, and they soften towards the end of the film. But I don't know. Maureen O'Hara does such a fantastic job in the original, so it's hard. It's hard to fill somebody's shoes that big.
yeah. Jungle Cruiser is in chat and says, "Don't forget." Wait, are we talking? Oh, Jayware says, "I know Elizabeth from Weeds." Jungle
Oh,
Cruiser
that
says,
too.
"Don't forget Interview with a Vampire and Star Trek Generations." But you know what the funniest thing is? And again, my wife and I have these conversations, and she's a great sounding board for like me going, "Wait, you didn't know this, or you're thinking that," or like it's wonderful. I was like looking through her credits. You know what else she did this same year?
Mm-mm.
She was Wilma Flintstone.
Oh, yes, of course. I
That's
remember
that's
that
exactly what she
yes,
did.
Fred
That's exactly
Flintstone,
what my
yeah.
wife did. She was like, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Of
of
course.
course that was her.
Because Rosie O'Donnell was Betty. Right? Betty Rubble?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I will,
different film.
yeah. Meanwhile, um, so anyway, yeah. So I feel like Elizabeth Perkins was a very grab during this time, but so was Mara Wilson, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's
Yes.
Matilda," and the
Right.
thing that I think of first with Mara Wilson is Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, right. But she was younger in that, wasn't she? Or was that
It's just
around
the
the
first thing I think. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, she was a child star, and apparently, as she aged out, Hollywood very quickly dismissed her because she was very much like the little girl for a long time, and now she does
Yes.
podcasts as one tends to do. Mrs. Doubtfire was 93, and then Miracle on 34th Street was 94, and Matilda was 96, and then A Simple Wish was 1997, and then we kind of lose her.
Wow.
um,
That's
but
really jam-packed for a few years.
but she's really good. She's like a really
She
good
is.
kid actor. The problem I have with her is she has to enunciate like
Yes.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Like it's very, very
Mhm.
personal. Like she had some coaching
Overdrawn.
or something along that. So that to me is like her hallmark move is that over enunciating. But
Mm.
the emotion on her face in this movie in particular, the struggle, you could see it. Like it's creepy that you can see the struggle in her soul almost. I mean, I'm no like for a kid to be that good,
Creepy.
like you see the
Yeah.
struggle in her with like wanting to believe,
Hmm.
right?
Yes, no,
Uh,
I love the scene when she says, "Mom, I think I'm going to think about it for a little longer. Is it okay that I don't not believe right now?" I'm like getting permission to think about if she wants to believe in Santa. I thought that was so sweet, and it's a very well written scene, and I think it's a good example of how a kid would approach this. And she was also a very advanced child. She had a very large vocabulary. You could tell that, she doesn't watch too much screen time at her
yeah.
house.
Whoa. See, no, nobody loves screen time more than me. There was something that she said that like I made a note of, and I can't remember what it was, and it was something in reference to her mother when she was talking to her that I'll have to look through my notes and try to figure out. Oh, I'm very sorry, mother. You have it very wrong.
Wow. Uh-huh.
And that's
Very
the
polite.
thing you're talking, but that's the thing you're talking about. That's
Yeah.
that very adult,
Mhm.
like vocabulary. Like I am very
Mhm.
sorry, mother. But you have it
Mhm.
very wrong. I don't know. I
Yes.
was cracking up at that part. Um, so again, the cast was of the time, and the one that we didn't really talk about yet is Dylan McDermott, which again I always have to hesitate on after that SNL bit where they did the is it Dylan McDermott or Dermot Mulrooney? Um,
Right. Dylan
but he was on the
McDermott, much more nice looking.
but see that was the thing. He was on the Practice. Remember the Practice? That was
Yes,
like he
I do.
headed that one up. And
Mhm.
he, I think he played some like mean guys in some movies, but yeah, he's a
He's
beautiful man.
McDreamy.
I'm just going to say
Yeah.
I'm going to say that he's a beautiful man, and especially in this one, just the coif, the like
Yes.
the drip, like the whole bit, just
You know what I was thinking?
spot
It
on.
was giving a little John Stamos there. A little bit. A little Uncle
Okay,
Jesse sometimes. Yeah. It's the hair
okay.
maybe.
I mean, I'm not mad at that either. Um, yeah. I mean, I'm man enough to admit when a guy is good looking. It was a good looking guy. I'm just saying. Um,
Yes.
yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like he's like almost too good looking. Like, why didn't he get like more leading man roles? Like, this is
Right.
his leading man roles, but he doesn't always have that. But I don't know. It's just, there was something about when he. I got a little I got a little heated when he was in his office and she's calling him up and he's in his office and he's like got the power lawyer office and the outfit and the hair and it's like, I was like, yeah, okay, I get it.
Can we just say, like, okay, when we first meet him, it's after Mrs. Walker comes back home and she has the video message from her daughter, and her daughter's over at this man's apartment, and you're going, she's over at a man's apartment? Like, what are you doing? But then you go and you see this apartment and you see him, and you're like, okay, well, maybe that's okay.
You're like, let that happen. That's fine. No, but you know
Apartment
what's funny about
overlooking Central Park.
yeah, exactly. You know what's funny about that though is as again we're jumping a little bit around. We'll reel it in a second. What's funny to me about that is that uh, that video looks like it's like a hostage situation,
So weird. I
right?
know.
Like if you came home and you saw a freeze frame of your kid,
911. 911.
don't touch anything.
Amber
We're gonna have
alert.
to get prints for all of this. Like we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
it was more than a little bit disturbing the way that it was frozen on there. And I think in the end of the video, like he legitimately snatches her in there.
He does. He picks her up because she starts saying, like, he wants to kiss you and this kind of thing. And he kind of grabs her and tickles her. So you see, like, this genuine moment between them and that she really likes him. So I guess that's supposed to give you the understanding that this is somebody who they have a relationship with, that the mom knows very, very well. And it's not just like, go down to the neighbor down the road, like, it's okay.
Yeah. No, you're right. But there's a lot. I don't even want to go down this road because there's a lot of weirdness about the Santa thing in general that I think really stood out to me when I saw the musical version of A Christmas Story.
Okay.
And I brought it up a million times, and I'll continue to be haunted by it. That Rankin and Bass Santa Claus is Coming to Town, where he sings that song, "If you sit on my lap today, a kiss, a toy is the price you'll pay." It's literally a song in there, and I'm just like, wait, what? Like, I mean, when did we make this weird? Like, so again, I don't want to go down that road with that, but there was a lot of things
Right.
in here about he's really good with kids that they were talking about Santa. Now,
Mhm.
not. Why am I forgetting his name? Is it Brad?
Brian.
Brian. It's Brian Bedford, which I'm like, is that like Bedford
Yes.
Falls? Is that what?
Right. I know. I was thinking the same
It's a
thing.
Wonderful
Yeah.
Life.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I was trying to figure that one out because I don't think that was the name of the character in Miracle on 34th Street. I think was it Fred Gailey was the name of the
Yeah, that
character.
sounds about, yeah.
And so like Brian Bedford sounds like we're paying tribute to, and maybe we are to It's a Wonderful Life in that one because of it. Like you said, there's a lot of steep nostalgia in this, but like the whole thing about like he's hurting kids and like the part where she comes up and he's like, well, don't you want to sit on my knee? Okay, like I mean, again, moving that we're just gonna push that aside right now, but
Right.
because love me some Santa, I'm a believer. It's great. So again, cast for the time, 1994 was like a beacon. The James, is it Ramar who plays the shifty Jack from Shoppers Express, and
Yes.
Jane Leeves, I think probably
James.
around
Daphne.
the time of Frasier. And
Right.
she didn't talk much either. The two of them
No.
remind me of the couple from that. And I'm forgetting her name too. From the couple from the Christmas Vacation, where
Uh-huh.
they're
Oh,
next door, and the woman who
Elaine
played
Venice.
Elaine, yeah,
Yeah. What's her name?
Julia Louis Dreyfus. So,
Thank you.
but the two of them together remind me of that couple for some reason. Like they're not a couple, but yeah,
Yeah.
and it's very like shifty and clandestine. And then Um,
Mhm.
the Mr. Shellhammer, is that
Mhm.
correct? Like Simon Jones plays Mr. Shellhammer. Uh,
Mhm.
is he the evil one? I forget. Um, but no, that's not who that is, right? It's a very Bond character, the owner of Shoppers Express. Like it's
Mhm.
very like, I don't know. It's a little over the top. I wasn't loving that one.
Yeah, but you
Anything
have to
else?
have some sort of a conflict villain. I mean, there's multiple different angles that they take in this film. Like, what are we actually do? Are we trying to make her believe? Is that plot A, and plot B is the Shoppers Express plot? Like, there's multiple different things going on. But for kids, you need to see a black and white. This is clearly the bad guy. Black hat, white hat. That makes it very clear.
Jungle Cruiser said I need to watch it with the Santa stuff because he may have to call ELFS.
Oh gosh, that's good.
Another great one. Love the Santa Claus.
Yes.
Again, but see, it's the stuff that starts with the disbelief that and when we were watching this, my wife was like, I know this is hard for you to watch this one. Like I know this is hard. But, again, the when we get into the story of it starts out like here's, this man, he's walking down the street, he has this encounter with this kid and his grandfather. And then we're getting hints of this whole thing about this department store named Kohl's that's going
Hmm.
that's going through
Not with
bankruptcy
a
and
K.
like a restructuring and all of that. And I'm like, in what world did we not go Macy's? Like they went Macy's in the 1947
The
one,
original, yes, exactly. I don't
and
know,
it
maybe
is.
they couldn't get the rights.
But again, get the rights. Like I'm trying to think about this. Like from the time, if it was Macy's, I would think they would go, yes, we do want more exposure, please. Or
Right.
if it's like them going, hey, we wanted Macy's, but they weren't willing to pay for the product placement, then do it anyway. Like, I mean, it
Yeah,
just seems like these big balloons that say Kohl's on them. First of all, why go
with a
Kohl's? Because there
star.
is a department store named Kohl's. It's spelled differently.
Right.
So like, why not
Yes.
go with like I don't even know, Mavericks, something that's like not even close to Macy's.
Don't
Um,
know.
it's just weird. Like it already like I had to like come back. You've already
Hmm.
thrown me off completely at this point. I have to come back from that one.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and then we get into it where it's like it's the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and then this is following very closely to the original. It's the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. The Santa is drunk. They need a replacement. They put in Kris Kringle. He's amazing. Everyone loves him, and then he becomes the official 34th Street Kohl's Santa. Now,
Hmm.
why Santa would want to do this? He sort of explains it to Prancer, I guess, but it's just like it's one of these weird situations where I'm like, why would Santa want to do that? Like because
This
but I
close to
don't know him
Christmas
like
when
that.
you're supposed to be so busy, right?
Now in what is it, Red One? Did you see Red One with
Mm-mm.
The Rock? Oh come on, that's a good
No.
one. That's new. It's a couple
Okay,
years
I'll go
old.
see
It's
it.
Amazon Prime.
Okay,
You
I'll get it.
got to watch it. In that one, Santa actually goes to the mall because he likes to do like kind of like the press the flesh with the gang to kind of like get down with the real
Huh.
people and right at the holiday season when like spirits are high and all of that kind of stuff. So that's kind of an explanation. They like give that explanation. So maybe that was this one.
Maybe.
But the basic gist is that Dory, we won't call her Doris because her name is Dory.
Yes.
Dory has a daughter, Susan, and she has told her that there is no Santa.
Yes.
And she, I wonder why that choice is made. Like in general, like Santa has always been a staple in our household and will
Hmm.
always be a staple in our household. Like I don't. That's a weird choice to make, and I know people make that choice. But in it,
Yeah.
we get to in this story, and I'll let you talk about this because I know I've been talking a lot, but I'm hyper. I'm filled with Christmas spirit, Stephanie.
That's fine.
There's a realization that happens when Susan and Dory are talking that it's just clear to me for the first time that when you do that, you're putting the child that you think you're doing a favor, you're putting them in a bad situation. And Susan says that. She's like, she says something about, all the kids your age, love Santa. And she's like, well, then why don't I? Like, what's wrong with me, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, you've taken that away from her, and then you've harnessed you've weighted her down with this responsibility that a child shouldn't have. And so I'm
Yes.
never going to tell somebody how to parent their kid, but it was an interesting take on it to be able to
Yes.
say, hey, guess what? There's another side to this that you're not thinking about.
And that's why I love that scene, just for the reason that you brought up, because you see the parents' side of things. She actually says to her, I want you to know that truth is more important than myth, than, you know, um, a false belief. I want you to know that that is what I value, and that what is what you should value. And then you also see the kid's side, and she's like, but I have to deal with this in my friend group, with everybody else. Why can't I? And so it's not that like I just want to do it, because everybody else is doing it. It's taking away imagination, it's taking away childhood wonderment, and it is sad. Now, I will tell you a quick personal story. My husband, he said that his parents chose to do this with him, and they sat him down just the kind of the same way that she did. I know, around the same age, probably 6 or 7. 6, 7. Anyway, and so this is
Stop.
what I hear at
Stop
my
right now.
house all day, all day long. But he told me, he said, you know what? I chose to believe anyway. So he was keeping a secret from his parents for years. And he was like, I still believed. I still believe in Santa. So we tell
I
our
j-
kids, Santa is full, and we believe in this house.
this yes. Well, and again, I mean, it just is. It just is. I
It just
believe it so
is.
strongly that it just is.
Yes.
Will always believe it, and
Oh,
because
we have
yeah,
books on the history, like the history of St. Nicholas. We have books on all, like, truly, this is Santa.
yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get weepy because I just again there the moment, and I'm jumping around again, but it was such a strong moment. The moment when the head of Coles, oh, the head of Coles, that should have been the evil. Like Shoppers Express should have been the good one, and Coles should have been the evil one. Um, the head of Coles does that thing where he says, the question you need to ask yourself is, do you believe in Santa Claus? And
That
I
that was
was like,
Dory.
I was like,
She
no,
said
no,
that to all of them, right? She said
right,
to
right.
in the board meeting.
But when he says it there, and
Hmm.
then we see the montage of like the Teamsters and
Yes,
everybody else
I
around, like
believe.
that's such a Disney
Oh,
moment. It's a
yes.
Christmas moment. It's a Disney moment. It's the thing I love about a Christmas special, a Christmas movie. The hope, the faith, I'm going
Yes.
faith, trust, and pixie dust all of a sudden. But you get what I'm saying.
Yes,
Is
it's
like
true. Yeah.
it's that hope, that faith, that dream, like the just the nostalgia, the love, the holiday spirit, all of that just flows through something like that, and I'm like, just I'm mush.
It's a belief in a higher power. It's a belief in something greater than yourself, and that
Yeah,
it's, for other people. And he even says that. He said, I am the embodiment of this type of, belief, something that you can overcome your selfish nature. And I think that this movie really touches a lot on faith and that kind of belief. And I think it's really, really good throughout. That's a line throughout the whole film.
yep. And again, we'll talk a lot about belief through this, but um, it we've been talking for a while. That's crazy. I'm sorry because we're like really not getting into it, but at the same time, most people know this story. But I was reading this from Benjamin in the chat that said the movie was written by John Hughes, who also wrote and produced Home Alone. 1 and
Yes.
2. A clip from the original Miracle on 34th Street appears in the TV in the first Home Alone. Yes, awesome
Yes.
stuff. I meant to bring that up earlier, Benjamin, about John Hughes, because again, John Hughes is the 90s when it comes to like,
Oh,
yeah, the
yes.
movies that he had done, and the
You
fact that
mentioned
he
Christmas
would.
Vacation, right? I mean, that's like every day in my house.
Well, but again, just the fact that he would take this on says that like this is a thing that like I truly believe in, etc.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, they're like going through his like his stories as like obviously as a director, Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Weird Science, The Breakfast Club, 16, like yes, 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 yes. Like all of these things are like, like say less. Curly Sue. But from a writer standpoint, you were just talking about, National Lampoon's Vacation, Mr. Mom. I loved Mr. Mom with Michael
Mr.
Keaton,
Mom's
16
great.
Candles, Breakfast Club, European Vacation, Weird Science, Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller's Day. Like the soundtrack really to the
Oh,
late 80s and early 90s was John Hughes. And so the
yes.
fact that this like was enough that he wanted to be a part of this um,
Mhm.
means a
It
lot. And then
feels Home Alone-ish because of course he did Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, which I think is just as good as the original, to be honest with you. I love that one just as much. So it feels very the way the music is, the way the scores are behind the dialogue. Some of the writing is a little bit forced, I think, but for the most part is very much a John Hughes film and evidently so. And so it's a good thing. I love John Hughes and like I said, it's like my childhood. So it feels very Christmas, it feels very New York, but at the same time it feels like you said, it encompasses everyone can identify, even if you've not ever been to New York at Christmas.
yeah. There was some of the writing that I was like, like the
Hmm.
heavy-handedness of the villains and the whole thing where
Hmm.
they're like, it's that guy's a loon. He's crazy.
Yes.
That like it just like it's like too much ahead of time about playing your hand about how you're going to try to set up Santa Claus as a loon here. So I mean, yeah, that kind of stuff is like a little bit. I'm not really sure, but he took liberties with the story that it's not. There are a lot of things that are the same, and there's a lot of
Right.
things that like kind of take a left hand turn,
Yep.
and I love that. I love that in this telling that it's at least not a carbon copy of the original. It's almost an homage in a lot of ways to the original.
Right.
Um, yeah. So one of the questions I have for you is the judge. The judge seems to at one point. Now again, I'm jumping around. So basically, what's happened is that the people from Shoppers Express, because they have nothing better to do than to take down this Santa Claus, and they use all of their resources to do so. They show up at a seedy Santa bar, find the guy that he had taken his place, in the parade, and use that because they know he's got an axe to grind, and then get him to basically goad Kris into hitting him, and
He
then
Jesse Smollett himself. Jesse
okay, that's a
Smollett.
good one. Yeah, exactly. But so they goad Santa into the attack, and then he as Jesse would do, falls to the ground and fakes an injury. Um, Allegedly, I can't
Allegedly.
say yeah exactly. So that whole setup happens, and then there's a guy there to take a picture that goes to the paper immediately and is in Times Square and on every headline, and from Denver to Arizona to everywhere else apparently. And it national news about this Santa Claus who hit a guy with a cane, because it's so awful. But I mean, they're trying to do the smear campaign again, they spared no expense to take
That's
down John
right.
Hammond. Basically, is what happened. And then they're in court, and so the I guess what I'm trying to say there is like the guy who owned Shoppers Express had the prosecutor in his pocket, and so he sent him down to the judge to just sign off on these commitment papers, and he kind of nudges him as if to say, he's thinking about your reelection campaign, blah blah blah. Does
So
that
that's
mean
from
that
the
that judge
original.
is dirty?
No, that's from the original, and judges are elected, so they probably shouldn't be, but there was a little politicking that's going on, and I do think that that is something that he kind of took from the original film, because that judge is always like, "Ooh, that would be good for my reelection campaign if Santa wins and everybody loves me," and this kind of thing. But this one, so the prosecutor, so this is, I'm not Allison, I'm not a lawyer. This is gets a little bit iffy, I think, on the law when it comes to what we're doing here, because as a physician, you can commit somebody, you can PEC them, physician's emergency commitment, and it can only be held for a couple of, like, 24 hours, 48 hours, until the coroner comes and has to assess that person, and then they can be held for longer. Now, then you can take the individual and present before a judge, and the judge can say whether you're competent or not, that the individual is. So if the person is competent, and it's a legal term. Competency is a legal term. So the fact that they didn't even address that, and they're talking about committing him, is strange to me, because this is what this should be. It should be a hearing on competency. And they had already said it. Brian went to him while he was there. Why did you purposefully fail your mental status exam? And they didn't have any kind of physician or any psychiatrist come to be an expert witness, which I thought also was odd. And he had already failed his exam on purpose, so why didn't the prosecutor pull that up and say, look, this is a failed exam? So I was all, legally, on the legal standing here, I'm not sure how well this whole hearing thing would have gone in the real world, but it's not the real world.
It is to me. Um,
Hollywood
I
land.
was trying to watch in the chat and trying to figure out, like, if, because Jayware is in the chat, and Jayware is quite the card from time to time, and says, I watch the Kohl's Thanksgiving Day parade every single year. Obviously, you're joking. Obviously, it's Macy's. But then
Macy's.
he says, "Oh, hilarious! Macy's is really on 34th Street. Too funny. Did you not know that? I mean,
Yeah,
because that's where the miracle on 34th Street comes from, is the
exactly.
34th Street Macy's. So,
Macy's.
like, yeah,
Yes.
there she is in all her glory. That's where the parade ends, or
Yep.
like basically when they do all those performances during the
Yep.
parade, and when they have, like, and special performances from Hamilton and Guys and Dolls, like that happens right there in front of the Macy's on 34th Street. So I can't tell. Jayware has a mystery about him that I can't ever tell if he's serious or kidding. So if you didn't know, that's the thing, which is, again,
Well,
which
Kris
makes it that
Kringle,
much more ridiculous that they didn't use Macy's.
right? No, and they could, maybe it had to have been a legal thing. They didn't even show the storefront, so I'm not really sure why they didn't do that. But as far as his Kris Kringle, he believed, and he, I would say he was probably not mentally competent, but they did not address that during the hearing. The judge didn't even ask. They started in on, is he Santa or isn't he Santa? And they
Right.
completely lost the whole thing of, is he mentally unwell?
And that bothered you
It
as a
did.
medical professional. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, again, there are things, as, like, I'm, I've always been into computers, and so there are things that people do with computers that I'm just, specifically, let's just go ahead and get it out there. Star Trek 4, when Scotty is trying to come up with the formula for transparent aluminum, I think is what it was. He has it's like a it's like an old school, like, Macintosh, like Mac Classic, and they've go back to the past, and they're, like, in our time, but at the, in whenever that was, and he's a Mac Classic, and he's like, "Do you have a computer?" He's like, "Yeah, right here," and he says, "Computer, do this," and he's like, "Oh, you need to use this," and he hands him, like, a mouse, and he says, "How quaint," and he goes, "Computer." And then he's like, no, and then he goes, ah, and he goes like this, and he just starts doing this. And then like all these
for
like
sure.
CAD drawing things come up on the screen, and I'm just like, Scotty, what are you doing, man? I don't. It's ridiculous. So like, from a medical professional, it does seem like, I mean, I let that go. See, as
Yeah.
nitpicky as I get about this stuff, I just was like, it's whatever. Like let's just get him exonerated so we can get Christmas going. Like that's really all
Yes.
that I wanted. And let's talk about a moment that they changed that is also a very pivotal moment in the movie. In the original movie, there's a moment where we, as the audience, really are and we're there with Susan when she witnesses a very Santa moment with a
Oh,
child.
yes.
In the first one, it's a little Dutch girl.
Mm.
And they're like, oh, sorry, she doesn't speak English, but she wanted to see you. And then, of course, Kris like breaks out the Dutch and starts talking to her, and then they're singing a song in Dutch, and it's just like such a sweet, sweet, amazingly touching moment. And Susan Natalie Wood sees this happen, and she's like, this is a turning point for her because she sees this tender exchange with a child who just unconditionally knows that this is Santa, and she's seeing just a pure interaction with the two. I'm getting all like verklempt, like thinking of the whole thing. In this one, they change it to a deaf girl, and I was like, interesting. Like that's an interesting take on that, and maybe part of that is like ASL would be a harder thing to know just off the top of your head than Dutch, or like is it more amazing?
Well, he had already spoken in Swahili, and he had already said he said Swahili and Russian, I think,
Yes,
were two things that he
correct.
had said. So she already knew that he, spoke other languages, if I'm saying it in the right order. And the little girl that they had here, the actress here, is actually deaf. And Richard Attenborough said, don't tell her when she sits on my lap that I'm going to do sign language. Don't tell her that. So her reaction to him at that moment, actually doing sign language, was a genuine reaction. And she was thrilled that he could speak to her in that way. So I
Yeah.
thought that was a really cool thing.
No, I agree. And again, that's another one of those moments where I'm just like, yeah. And maybe that's the thing with a story that begins with disbelief. Maybe that's the thing, is that we're the believers, they're not. We're going to go on that journey with them, and when they finally believe like we do, there's just this epiphany of such. And I think that happens a lot when we watch a Disney movie and they kill off a parent early. And so it's like, what did you do? You just killed Mufasa. You just killed Bambi's mom. Like, you just killed Carl Fredrickson's wife. Like, what are you doing? Poor Ellie. But I mean,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, because you have such that low moment, you're
Yes.
able to experience those highs.
Yes.
This is why I love Ted Lasso, because I feel like Ted Lasso is all highs, and I'm there for it. Like, I'm good for it, So, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just like, yeah, like it's really, I mean, you want these moments. And I guess to get to this moment, you have to have those sad Kris Kringle in his Bellevue, like, insane asylum, like, room in the darkness with his glasses off, being all sullen, to have that, like, that victory moment.
That's right.
Speaking of victory moments, thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you guys being here as part of this, our holiday tribute to A Look on the Plus Side. We're very excited to continue on. We're going to be and we're going to have Stephanie back on Christmas Eve. We're going to have a show. We're not going to do it on Christmas Eve, but we're going to do it for Christmas Eve. We're going to talk about Small One, which is, again, it really gets me. And so, like, that one, and then Patrick will be here to talk about One Magic Christmas, I think is the name of it, from the 90s. And then also Prep and Landing, the third one, which the Snowball Protocol, which I've already watched, and we'll talk about that. So that's going to lead us right up into the holidays. I hope you guys will join us every Wednesday night for that. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. Give us a like, because now I'm going to ask our friend Stephanie a couple questions from this movie that she picked. Didn't you go 5 for 5 on Mickey and the Many Christmases, I feel like?
Yeah, I think I did pretty well on that one, but this one, not so much, maybe.
And as a mom, you've seen that how many times?
Oh, on repeat, just constantly.
Yeah. Well, usually, I mean, and I don't even know, is Fire Chief in the chat? I didn't even see, because Fire Chief usually likes to keep track of how many you're getting right or wrong. So if not, I'm sure somebody will play along. I see Alicia's in the chat. Thank you guys for being here tonight, by the way. Jay Ware and Ronald and Alicia and Benjamin and Jay Ware, I think I already said. And I know Care Bear was here, but she had to go to bed. And yeah, you guys are great. Thank you guys so much for being here. But let's do some trivia, and it's all in good fun, Stephanie. So let's have it. Okay. I wrote down a whole bunch of things, but I feel like you're going to know the answer to most of them anyway, so it really doesn't matter. When we first see Kris Kringle walking down the street, he is whistling a song, or like humming a song. What is the song that he is whistling? He's whistling it.
I feel like I want to say Jingle Bells.
I feel like you're correct. It is Jingle Bells.
Yay!
Yeah. Yeah, and again, we didn't talk about the music in this, but the music is almost all like standards, whether they're redone or sung by the characters or whatever. It's almost all standards.
Sung by Kathy Lee Gifford at one point.
Anyway,
I mean, she was big in the 90s, right? Her and Regis, so.
Reg.
Great.
You know what though? Somebody said this once about SNL. Like impressions, is that sometimes the impressions are so good that they become our reality in our head of what those characters are, that you don't really think about James Brown. You think about Eddie Murphy being James Brown in Celebrity Hot Tub, and you don't really think about, some of these. And I think I will not really think of Kathy Lee Gifford. I will think of Kristen Wiig doing Kathy Lee Gifford.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, yeah, it's crazy. So we talked about the ransom tape where Susan is in Brian's apartment, and she's sitting there. And when we first see her, she's sitting in a window. What do you call that?
Window seat?
Window seat? I was going to be doing something fancier, but sure, window seat.
No.
She's sitting there watching the parade, and a balloon comes by. The very first time we see her, what's the first balloon that comes by that we see her outside the window? The very first one. I love the balloons. There were 3 this year from Disney, right? 3 balloons, I think. There was Buzz Lightyear, there was Spider-Man, and maybe Minnie Mouse? I don't remember.
Okay.
But yeah.
I don't remember. I want to say, was it a Santa balloon? Which probably doesn't make any sense.
No, it wasn't. Was that a good misdirect? Did you feel like I was going to go, you did it? No.
Maybe a little.
No. I was trying to think if I could cue it. By the way, Brian's sweater in that scene is on point.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, it's pretty magical. And his eyes, there's something about the hue. It's giving Josh Tomorrow.
Josh Tomorrow. Oh, Clifford.
Clifford the big red dog.
Okay, so I thought it was red. Can I get a little, quarter point for that?
Well, like a half point? No, come on. It's fine. But that cable knit sweater, I mean, he is wearing the heck out of that cable knit sweater.
For sure.
I mean, like, can we all agree to that? Like
Yes.
The smolder. Oh. He's got the smolder.
And the lighting, you have this soft focus lighting on everyone's up close. Every single up close that they do is a soft focus.
There were a couple of moments with Dory where the soft focus was kind of in shadow.
Yes.
And it made me feel like it was again an homage to like the Maureen O'Hara era of the character, because it was very not of the 90s. It was almost like a stylistic choice to throw back to that original.
100% agree.
Rockin' the cable knit. Anyway,
So
All
good.
right, so you're 1 for 2, I believe. Here's the next one. You ready? Um,
Okay.
what time does Kohl's open?
8 o'clock.
9 a.m.
Oh,
They focused in on the clock. Clock strikes 9. The doors open. I would say
kids rushing.
no less than 100 unsupervised children charge through the doors of a New York City
Of
department
course.
store. Most of them 12, 14. I was so confused. But anyway, it opens at 9 o'clock. So it's like, I felt like you could have almost guessed that because most stores open at 9 or 10, but okay, they were fine. So you're good. I'm not trying to like roast you on that. I was afraid you would just randomly guess it.
Ah,
Um, when they're talking to Kris, the two bad guys, we'll call them, when they're talking to Kris in the limo and he's explaining to them about playing golf with the Easter Bunny.
yes.
Where does the Easter Bunny winter?
Oh, was it New Zealand?
That is New Zealand. Yeah,
Yes.
you did it. You did it. Is that what? They're 2 for 4? Is that what you got?
Hmm. I think so.
Okay. I'm not gonna ask you that one. I'll ask you that one after the fact, but I won't ask you that one right now. We'll end in this one. What is Susan's middle name?
Elizabeth,
Why do you know that?
because one of my daughter's middle names is Elizabeth.
I was gonna say I thought there was no way you would get it, and when you did instantly, I was like, you know, someone who has a middle name Elizabeth. That's why that stood out for you. It's Susan Elizabeth
Yeah.
Walker. Yeah, you did it. So
Yes.
you got 3 for 5. You did well. You didn't get your undefeated or your 5 for 5 that time. I was going to ask you who he listed as his first next of kin because he listed the reindeer on his form, but Prancer was the one that was listed first. I was going to ask you what the name of the senior center was that he was checked into.
Oh,
It was Mount Carmel.
Mount
And then I was
Carmel.
going to ask you to identify 2 of the many brands in the 1994 version of Times Square because they show it multiple times.
7 Up was what I think. Are you mean like the brands like on
The
the
billboards.
big
It could have been
billboards? Yeah.
anything that were on the billboards.
So 7 Up was one of them. It had an I believe thing, I think. And then oh shoot, I forget. I can picture it, but I can't think of what it is.
So the ones I rolled out were Panasonic was on there.
Hmm.
JVC was on there. JVC was a big brand in the 90s. McDonald's was there. Canon cameras was a
Should have said
big deal
McDonald's.
back there. Howard Johnson's was still
Oh, really?
a place in there. For musicals, there was a sign for Damn Yankees and another one for Miss
Uh-huh.
Saigon and another one for Guys and Dolls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I love that it's kind of a time capsule of that whole era.
Mhm.
Um, being able to see it. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate you doing the trivia. Time capsule wise, this one doesn't feel dated. There are a lot of movies that we watch and they feel dated, either because they have the cord on like the old rotary
Quarter phone.
phones, or they
Hmm.
have something like a phone booth or something that feels very. It's
Hmm.
not all telecom, but something that feels very dated in it. And in this one, it didn't really feel that way. We're not seeing old computers necessarily, and we're not really seeing like it.
No.
Just it could be, except for the outfits.
Okay, but I do feel like he did a really good job at making it, like you said, almost an homage to the 1950s, 1940s, 1950s. The hairstyles, the clothing choices, because what Susan is always dressed prim and proper. She really only has one time that she's in a nightgown, like when Chris is babysitting her, but it's like it's a nightgown like from the 1900s or something. It's like a long flowing nightgown for a little girl. So it feels very old, but also it could be now as well. And then when they get in a cab, when they go on a date, when Dory and Brian are on a date, they get in a 1950s/60s style cab. It's not a 70s or 80s cab, which you probably would see in the 90s in New York City. But the one thing that I was going to bring this up, that you would date this movie, is that when they bring Daniel, the little boy, in to say, this is Santa Claus. He looks like Santa Claus
And they
during the
put him on a
trial.
phone book.
Phone book. The first thing, my kids were like, what's that?
Well, and there's another scene with that when the Santa starts directing people to others, and that's again a big piece of the original movie. In the original movie, it was Macy's and Gimbel's, and those were two huge department store giant rivals back in the day. And so when they have those two stores and they're using them by name, it means something to you real world, and that's crazy, right? And so you would never think that they would get together. But in this movie in 1947, the Santa Claus at Macy's says, that thing, we don't have it here. He didn't talk about price. He just said, we don't have it here, but they have it across the street at Gimbel's. And so that was one of those things where like that stuck with you. Like that was a big thing that they would ever do that. And so in this one, they do that again, but they're like, and immediately my wife is going like, well, how, like, okay, Santa knows, but how would everybody else know? And here come the phone books. I was like, there you go. They're going to start calling around to different stores. And she's got what's called a newspaper. She opens that up and she's looking at the ads to see who's got what. So yeah, they weren't just like letting Kris do all the work. They were actually weighing in on some of that and making sure to be a part of it. One of the things that always strikes people about the TV show Friends in New York is the idea of like how expensive those apartments would be and how that they would never be as big as they are on those sets. And so I'm thinking that when I'm looking at this Christmas area that quote unquote Kohl's has, that is ginormous waste of space in New York City. And it's like, how would you have carved out this much space for Santa? I don't know. I mean, maybe they did, but I looked at this and I'm just like, that is huge amount of space.
Maybe all of those, the ornaments and things were also on sale so that you could walk through the line and pick them off the tree. I don't know.
Yeah. By the way, when they're doing that thing with the whole like, Santa's sending your people to other places, did you recognize the woman who comes up to tell the manager?
Yes.
This was a very early appearance for her, that she's listed only as the woman in the credits. It's a very good.
I was just going to say she has a very interesting accent, because I think she's trying to do maybe a Brooklyn or some sort of Queens accent, but then it doesn't really, it kind of sounds more mid-Atlantic, almost like she's Katharine Hepburn at some point. So it was interesting because you listen to the mom right before her talking to Santa Claus, and she's definitely from the Bronx or something. You know? And then you hear her and you're like, that's a little off. But
no, it was good definitely to see her. The woman who came up to talk to him and whisper him in his ear is definitely a mob wife.
Yeah, exactly.
She's right out of The Sopranos, honestly. Anyway, so the other thing when we talk about believing that I thought was interesting is when it's early on when Brian he's meddling. I don't know if you as a parent thought that he was meddling too much. I do think he had good intentions, but I do think he was meddling too much. I think that's you're taking too many liberties with a kid that's not yours, and so that's definitely something that I was noticing there. Now, it was probably pretty harmless back in the 90s, but I think we're more aware of things like that now, that it's like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Like, that's not your kid. This is not your choice to take her to see Santa or whatever. Like, so he's stepping over some lines. I think we can agree to that. But he's trying to talk her into this, being with Santa, because he sees it as it's a deficiency that she has that he needs to fix. And I not that I don't agree. I'm just saying, like, and so when he's talking to her, he says something interesting, that it's not like you should believe because of faith. You should believe because of this. But what harm does it do to believe? You might as well hedge your bets. Because what if it's real and you'd miss out on your gifts? That's a weird take.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's kind of a single guy take. Like he doesn't have kids, and he's trying to kind of give her a reason why that she needs to do this and believe in this. And so she kind of dismisses him, if I remember. Like she's kind of like, oh, that's not a good reason.
Yeah.
At
So
6.
the other thing I wanted to bring up is something where I did a review of Big, and we'll have to do another one because it never
Okay.
really aired, so to speak.
Okay.
But it's definitely a problematic movie when you stop and think that her character is in her 30s and sleeps with Tom Hanks, who is really a 13-year-old boy. Like, it's
Yes.
problematic. And it didn't seem problematic necessarily, I guess, again, at the time. But when you look at it through a fresh set of eyes in the 2020s and on and beyond, you're like, wait a minute, this is weird.
Hmm.
My wife had a very similar, like, feeling about when, you know, Susan has made this wish that she wants a mommy, a daddy, and a little brother and a house, which,
Hmm.
again, going back to belief, the mother sets down the gauntlet and says, wish for something from this weird man. Wish for something that he would never be able to give you, ever, ever, ever. And if he doesn't, then
Hmm.
he's not real.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bad lesson as well. As well, is it to say, like, it's like, say your prayers tonight, and if God
Hmm.
doesn't grant them, then don't believe.
Yeah.
That's just
That
it's like it's a weird thing because again, it's about faith and anyway.
Not
So
to mention you just met this guy.
right, but she's like, oh yeah, if he's the real deal, you wish for something that's never gonna happen. If he doesn't do it, then you know he's a fake. I
Right.
don't know. Anyway, so she wishes for all of these things, which are again ridiculous, and then puts them out there. And it's like, if you can't do it, I guess that's fine. I feel like in the original, she only wished for the house
She did. I think that there was
because she wanted the
already a
backyard
relationship
and
established. Yes, I think there was already a relationship established between, the her mom and the lawyer and everything, but I think it was just the house. And that she kept saying that. She kept saying he's going to get me a house. And her mom would go, That's such a big ask. That's such a big gift. How is he even going to deliver that?" And then the end you see the cane sitting there through the, circumstances of them getting the house.
yeah. Benjamin said, "How did this end up? That end up being PG, meaning probably big. How did that end up being
Oh,
PG? And I
right.
think PG-13 didn't exist any at the time. So I think that's the
Yeah.
conversation that they're having. That didn't exist. Wasn't it? Wasn't it? Raiders of the Lost Ark 2 that brought out PG-13 because of the monkey brains and all that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like that was around that time anyway. Um, so in this one, the problematic scene to her, my wife, was that it's Christmas morning. Susan is making her wish. She turns around and sees this.
Okay, but she had to see that because number one, so I don't
But they're
think
walking.
if we're
They're
gonna,
just. It's like he's walking out in his robe. Like, guess
yes,
what I just did.
yes, right, exactly. But you see the ring first. You see the shininess of the ring and reflecting into and so she sees that she got married or what have you. But I think that the problem is they didn't establish from the very beginning that these two people have had a relationship. This is not something that's new. This is something that they've been
They
dating
get
for
to
a
the ring
while.
pretty fast.
He's just like, here's a ring. She's like, whoa, but the writing, I think, was leaving something to be desired because they could have established, hey, we've been in a relationship for this many years. Even if it was an exposition when he's talking to Kris, he could have said, yeah, we've been dating for 5 years now, or something to that effect, to where, it's okay that she's over at his house without her mom. And then it's also, she really sees him as being in love with her mother and that they do need to become a family. And it's just her mom's wall that's keeping them from going
But
forward.
going from seeing him in his suit and his cable knit sweaters to seeing him step out in his Hugh Hefner gear,
Right.
Just
Yeah, little, but they have to do that. They have to establish because part of her wish is that she wants a little brother.
But
So at
that's
the
the other
end
part
of the film,
but that's the other part she was freaking out about. It was almost like, is like, did Kris make that baby? Like, like, I
well,
mean, you
so
know,
it leaves it
and
up
then,
to
and
the
then, and the
parent.
fact is, she's like, what else did you, that's like the last line of the movie. She's like, what else did you wish
Yes.
for? And then she goes, a little brother. And then she immediately goes,
Yeah. They look at each other.
but she looks
Exactly.
down like, oh, I guess that happened.
Well, they got married, but like, okay, so then you're
Merry
left as the
freaking
parent
Christmas.
yes, you're taking your kids to see this movie, and the kids are like, Mom, what does that mean? You're kind of like, oh, okay, thanks, John Hughes.
Yeah, and then this guy looks like he stepped right out of a 1947 movie, by the way, speaking of.
There were so many
With the
British people
mustache
in
and the
this
bow
film.
tie and the fedora, like, I mean, if I
But
showed you this
I love
scene and
that.
said, "Oh, by the way, this is from Raiders of the Lost Ark," you'd go, "Okay, that's the
Yes,
professor from Raiders of the Lost Ark," from the
yes, or BBC.
1930s. Yeah,
That's fine. I
so
love that, though.
yeah. Uh, and then like the thing that she's wearing, I think maybe this is what you were talking about, like that the red hat that I'm clearly missing out on. Let me come back to this again. They're showing the house that has already been furnished, and there's a reason the house has already been furnished. Yeah.
During
Anyway,
the photo shoot.
it's just such a weird thing because when again, my wife at the end was like, "Oh my gosh, like that's so feels creepy. It feels inappropriate." And I was like, "Remember, she's the one that was in Big, and she slept with the 13-year-old."
Yeah,
And
right. This is a little better.
they have her
A little
typecast
rushed,
as in a thing. It's just weird. I don't know, but let's just say that the two of them looked great together.
yes.
Dory and Brian. I think that they're a
One
beautiful
thing to
couple.
that point, they actually are about the same age. Like the actors are about the same age. In so many films, they'll have an actor trying to match up with somebody that's like 20 years and they're playing someone younger, but they don't look to me. I'm like, clearly he's in his 50s and he's playing a 30-year-old. That makes no
Yeah.
sense. And this one, they look so good together, I think, because they are basically the same age.
You know, it's funny that you would say that. There are a lot of movies where I'll see two people together in the movie, and I'll go, "Wait a minute." Well, here's a great example. Tim Allen
Hmm.
is in a new series that's on season 2, which how this happens I
Yep.
don't know, called Shifting Gears.
Right.
And and I
With
forget
Kat
her
Denning,
name.
right?
Huh?
Isn't it Kat?
No, Kat
What's her?
Denning plays his daughter. But
That's who it is. Yeah.
Dharma and Greg, who was the girl from that
Oh,
played
Jenna
Dharma?
Elfman.
Jenna Elfman. Jenna Elfman plays his love interest, and immediately I hit up like Google, and I'm like, "What's the age difference here?" And it's like,
Right.
"Oh, 17 years," and it's like, "Huh, okay."
Mm,
So again, age is just a number, but I get what you're saying exactly. That these two like that's probably a thing they focused on more at the time.
yeah.
I think
Really did.
that Jay and Gloria broke the mold on Modern Family of what a family is supposed to be, et cetera, et cetera. So, and Jay Ware said they're both old. Okay.
Now. Yeah.
Right. So again, I this movie to me, it's the thing I don't like. And you and I talked about it we were talking about Mickey and the Many Christmases. It's Elf, where it's
Mm,
like, well, who do they think puts the No, don't do that. Don't do that.
yeah.
Let's do Prep and Landing, where it's just like this is how it is. The elves just
Hmm.
go out and they do this, and if something goes wrong, here's how they fix it. And it's not about the disbelief, but so many. Even
Yep.
it's the Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown starts with disbelief.
Yes.
Like
Absolutely.
I don't love it, but as we talked about, taking the lows of that, bring those highs that we remember out of these movies, these great Christmas movies. Like, is Clarence a real angel? Well, teacher says Whenever a bell rings,
Bell
an angel gets
rings.
its wings.
Mhm.
These are the magical movies. This is the holiday. I feel such a kinship between our Disney fandom and Christmas because
Yes.
it's about faith, trust, and pixie dust. It's about
Mhm.
hope and belief and faith and magic. It's about
Mhm.
magic, right? It's a magical time. There's
Yes.
something about it that just, whether it's the nostalgia that you're reaching for, or whether it's the joy that comes with, like, the foods and the family and the kids and the presents and all that kind of stuff, and just spiritualness of I don't know. I always kind of said that, like, if I could make a religion out of Disney, I would. And thinking back about, like, the original thoughts of Walt Disney, which were like, treat people with kindness and happy
Mhm.
ending, happily ever after, and all of those
Mhm.
things. They're all good. And so again,
Mhm.
I kind of see a kinship between the two, which is why I love Christmas at the parks. And I just got back. And since Jungle Cruiser was in chat, I was going to show that.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
That is the best.
Like, there's nostalgia right there. Mickey
Mhm.
in the train, or in the old truck with
Little
the
truck.
with the whole gang and the Christmas tree
Mhm.
and all that kind of stuff. And
Yes.
it's just, there's something about a Christmas. Like, I always have to have a real tree because
Mm.
it's the smell and just the memories and all that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
I guess it's hard to pick out holiday classics anymore that you want to do. And even with this one, it's a Sophie's choice of, do you watch the original 1947 or do you watch this 1994 one? And that's what we're gonna suggest to people here in a second. Unless there's anything else we wanted to cover, we kind of talked about the time period of the movie, and does
Mhm.
it does it stay true in this era, and the writing and the directing and the cast and the music, the core belief of the whole thing, the meddling where you shouldn't, as a potential parent with somebody else's kids, the
Right.
weirdness of a child wishing for a baby brother.
I'm sure kids do that, you know. My kid, when we told him that he was going to have a little sister, he would go, "No, God, why? I already have two."
Yeah, for sure. Um, okay, so anything else that we missed though in talking before we get to our final thoughts on this one? Cool. I want to thank
No.
everybody for. I know we ran a little bit late tonight, but again, it's Christmas. I love this kind of stuff. We're gonna have our park show coming up. We didn't have one last Sunday night because it was the holiday. It was the holiday weekend, and we didn't want anybody to, like, miss out on time with their family and friends. And we assumed you guys were doing that, so that's what we did. Is we spent time with our family and friends. So hopefully you guys had a good time and a great Thanksgiving, and are looking forward now to the holidays. And so we're gonna have another park show this Sunday night. This Friday night is another Happiest Stays from Shannon. So she has Riverside, Port
Oh,
Orleans
that's a good
Riverside.
one. I
Yeah,
like
and
that.
and yeah, so we're gonna drop that one Friday night. So 8:30 Friday night is gonna be Happiest Stays with Shannon and Port Orleans Riverside. Sunday night is going to be our pack show, our Park Adventures Club, and a big shout out to our pack members. We appreciate you guys so much. Talking with you guys in the chat, in the Discord. If you guys haven't already, take a look at it. It's patreon.com/go pack. For a small entry, you can be one of the members that hangs out in our Discord. We have a question of the day. We have little side chats. People are right now talking about McDonald's Happy Meal toys and chasing down all the 70th and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you guys would come, join us, hang out. We would love to have you in the pack. If not, at least come join us for Sunday night show, 8:30, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And then Friday night at 8:30, this Friday, is going to be Shannon and her show. And then next Wednesday night, a look on the plus side, we will be back. I think that's the one Magic Christmas with Patrick, but we'll post all that stuff so everybody knows about it. So, One last thing, I guess I want to give. I always want to give a shout out to our pack members, and especially our Zebra Mezzanine and Treasure Room supporters. So again, everything you guys do, from super chats to Patreon to everything, helps us out and helps us do all the content that we're doing for you guys. So thank you guys so much for your support. But Stephanie, now is the time. Now is the best time. Because somebody is coming to you and they're like, oh my gosh, Stephanie, we loved that you recommended the Mickey and the Many Christmases. We had a good time with that one. We're looking at doing Miracle on 34th Street. There's this 1994 one with this good-looking guy, Dylan McDermott, and we're wondering, aside from looking good in a cable knit sweater, is this a good film? So the question that I have for you, Stephanie, is would you put your reputation on the line and would you recommend this movie?
I do recommend this movie, and for all the reasons we've already stated, but for the most part, because it feels like Christmas. That's all I can really describe it and say, because it is, yes, it's about Santa Claus. Yes, you see the Christmas decor. It starts at Thanksgiving and takes you all the way to Christmas through the whole season. But I feel like it's nostalgic for a time gone by that maybe I didn't experience, and I wasn't alive in the 50s, but it still feels like a simpler time while still being in the modern era. And I love that through like I said, the lighting, the clothing, the soundtrack, the score. It's such a well done film, and it's very John Hughes. And a lot of times I just felt like it was Home Alone. Like, it felt like Home Alone. If you love Home Alone, Home Alone's top 5 Christmas movies. For me, it's a Wonderful Life is number 1. But yes, this one would be, I would say, at least in my top 10. It's definitely worth a while. Watch. And the one thing I would say is that in the original, and yes, watch both. Please watch them and compare them both. Natalie Wood does a fantastic job, little girl in the first one. But in the end, the reason why they get him free is because in this movie they say that the government, as a collective, as the people, put their trust in God, and they write "In God We Trust" on the dollar bills. But in the original film, it's because the postal service was delivering mail to Kris Kringle and saying, "Hey, Santa, answer all these mail, like, let him take all the mail." And because it's a federal offense to open up mail that's not yours, they said, well, legitimately, they think this guy really is Santa, so therefore he is. And I don't know, I kind of feel like the reasoning behind that is better in the first one as far as getting him, off of his commitment issue. But in this film, what I love is the through line of faith, like you just talked about. And that is what, in the end, proves that he is Santa, is that people have put their faith in him.
Well, I will say yes. I definitely think faith, belief, and the magic that comes with the holiday season across the board is definitely at the heart of this movie. It is a miracle. It is a miracle on 34th Street. There's something heartwarming and just gets you in your soul with a movie like this. I think it's a bold statement to say top 5, Stephanie. I really do. I know you picked this movie, but there are so many movies. Yeah, that's fine. But I mean, there are so many Christmas movies out there that it's really hard for me to have like a top 5 because it changes all the time. That's why I said, like, what's a holiday classic anymore? I would never go through the season without seeing A Christmas Story. I can't imagine the last time I saw it because there's some that come out, like Violent Night with David Harbour is an awesome movie. It's very much Die Hard, but Santa instead of John McClane. And then Die Hard as well. Like, there's so many different, for different tastes, different things you're looking for, whether it's but if you are looking for something that feeds your soul, that gives you that holiday spirit, that lifts you up, that gives you that faith in mankind and in just in humanity and in general, this is it. Like, it's this, and It's a Wonderful Life. Like, these are there, and I love that this one's a modern take on it, and I love that we talked about that. You talked about that ending. We didn't even talk about the ending, but the fact that they did a twist on it, because in this one it wasn't that they had to convince the judge; it was they had to give him an out.
Yes. Exactly.
And so in giving him an out, and the fact that it says, and there's that line, right? There's always that line about God and Santa. And okay, well, if you
Something unseen
believe,
that you're believing. Yes. Hmm.
right, exactly. And so, I mean, and you could say the same of love. It's not a thing you can see, but it's a thing you
Yep.
feel, and it's a thing you believe in, and it's a thing you know, and you can't touch it, but it's there, and you know it's there, and when you feel it, and I feel like, so with that, and it is combined, and the fact that they make that connection here, I think, was a strong connection.
Hmm.
But that scene in the first one, when all of those mailbags come in and get dumped on
So
there, that's a special kind of magic as well when that happens. Because again, that's just like saying, hey, the hope and faith and belief of the children of the world has basically like said, this is real. So thank you guys for, let us know in the comments what you think. I know Benjamin was out here saying watch them both. Again, there's not a lot of time to watch everything, but I do agree with you and with Benjamin. Watch them both. I mean, I think that they're great movies, and to be able to compare, contrast, or maybe watch one this year and watch one next year and flip flop and go back and forth. But there's so much good content out there for not just on Disney Plus, not just on Hulu Plus, but on on all of the platforms to be able to do. And we're trying to share some of our favorites with you. So join us again next week for a look on the plus side. Stephanie, man, thank you so much for all that you do, and for being here, and for sharing your wisdom and your thoughts with us. We love it. So thank you so much. And Stephanie has an amazing Castaways on deck coming up soon. So we won't spoil anything yet, but be on the lookout for that one too. And you guys have a great week. Hopefully we'll see you Friday night for Happiest Days, or Sunday night for the Park Adventures Club. And if not, we'll see you next Wednesday night for another look on the plus side. Have a good one. Uh-oh. Keep waving. Keep smiling and waving. There it is. Take care, everybody.